Hi, I'm Chris Johnston from Work Visa Lawyers. Today I want to share with you one of the most common questions that I get from people wanting to migrate to Australia. What they ask is, should I put in an expression of interest for a 189, 190 or 491 visa and wait for a result, or should I go for employer sponsorship? So it's points-based visas versus employer sponsorship. Now my answer to this is probably something that you're not going to like. My answer is, you should probably do both, and I'll explain why. So points-based visas like the 189, the 190 and the 491. You need a positive skills assessment and you need to have English which is at least competent, and then you need points of at least 65, but the more points you've got, the better your chances. It's an expression of interest system, so you have to wait to get invited, and this is where the problems start. It's great if you can get invited, but if you're in Australia and you're on a temporary visa and you're waiting for an invite, and you don't receive one, eventually your visa's going to expire. And so I do encourage you to try to get one of these points-based visas, so to put in your expression of interest and to look for state sponsorship. But unfortunately, there's no guarantee you'll get an invite. And so that's why you might also want to consider the second option. So the second option is employer-sponsored visas. For employer-sponsored visas, the most important thing is to be working for an Australian business or to have an Australian business that's offering you a position. The challenge we always hear with employer-sponsored visas is, how do I find an employer? We've made a separate video about that topic. To start off with, I'd say, start working for an Australian employer on your temporary visa, and then if things are going well and they're happy with your performance, you're in a good position to ask them if they can sponsor you. Employer-sponsored visas do involve quite a lot of costs, and there's at least 3 stages to the 482, so it's not an easy process. The advantage of the employer-sponsored process is that if your employer agrees to sponsor you and you've got an occupation that's on the list, you can choose to go ahead with the process without having to wait for the government to say they want to invite you. So you've got more control over the process. And so for employer sponsorship, you can go forward perhaps more easily as long as you can secure a sponsor. So I've taken you through the classic question, points-based visas or employer-sponsored visas. And I'd say the points-based visas, it's good to try, but as a backup, it would be excellent to be able to look at an employer-sponsored visa. I hope that this has been helpful. Thanks for watching.